Hello, my name is Lauren and welcome to Faraway Fae. Oh, focus on me. Focus on me. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the book Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This was a recent read for me. I read it at the end of October, perfect for spooky season. This is the YA book club from Barnes & Noble version. So the inside is absolutely stunning. It's got this like gold flake covering and is just absolutely beautiful. I wanted to do a book review on this book. Spoiler alert, I loved it. Because I loved it and I wanted to kind of share some thoughts that I had and go over the book with you. This is a non-spoiler review, so you can watch this if you have not read the book, and if you have, then you will already know all of this. So I would like to point out that the main character's name is this, and I pronounce it Yadriel. If that is wrong, I apologize, and if it irks you this whole video that I say it like that, then I want to apologize one more time. I'm sorry. So this book follows our main character Yadriel as he is in a family of Bruhex, which is kind of like which is basically where his family can see spirits. They run kind of like a cemetery. They live on a cemetery. His family, the Bruhex, can see spirits and they can send them to the other world, the afterlife kind of thing, and release spirits once they have passed on. Only Bruhex can, only Brujas and Brujos can send people over to the other life, and they are the only ones that can come back once they have passed on. Yadriel, our main character, is trans and he is not accepted in his family as a brujo. They call him a bruja, and he wants to prove that he is a boy and that he is capable of doing the job of a brujo, because that is what he was born to do and born to be. To be a brujo, you have to conjure a spirit and then release it to the other side, and our story starts when our main character Yadriel tries to prove himself and summons something that he cannot control. And that something is named Julian Diaz. This book is a tale of friendship and love and finding out really who you are and fighting for your identity and just fighting to be who you want to be. And I absolutely freaking loved it. We had to figure out what we're going to do with Julian Diaz because he will not go away. He will not leave Yadriel alone. And yes, that is where our story starts. This book was absolutely hilarious in some parts, like had me cry laughing over Julian Diaz and just how funny he is. Literally, if I could have a pocket-sized Julian in my life to just carry around, like that episode of Wizards of Waverly Place where she has that little elf, I think it is, I would just love to have him around because he is so funny. And even if he can realize when he's taken jokes too far or he's not acting appropriately, which I feel like a lot of males don't have that trait, and so he knows when to back off, which I really appreciate, and I love that about him. Julian is truly hilarious, but he also has his moodiness and just like all these characteristics that made him so realistic and real. Same thing, made him really believable, made him really lovable, and I absolutely love Julian Diaz. #1 Julian Diaz stan right here. The writing was super vivid and atmospheric and very easy to read, not in a bad way, but in a way that just it flowed very easily. Everything was very vivid, everything was very detailed. They live in a cemetery and a lot of the book takes place in a cemetery, and so you get to kind of get that creepy spooky vibes. This book is listed as a YA horror, and I don't think it's horror. I think it's like creepy, spooky, but I don't think that you can like call that a genre. Like spooky, my book is spooky. The thing that I loved most about this book was the characters' relationships. We have a beautiful platonic relationship represented, which I feel like we don't get a lot in stories. A lot of times it's really focused on romance, and this book was almost entirely focused on platonic love and platonic relationships and family and things like that, and I really appreciated it. It was really refreshing and it felt so good just to read about friends for once, you know, just friends who stay friends, who support each other as friends, who don't have any alternative motives than being friends. It was just really refreshing, and I didn't feel like the romance in this book was overdone at all. It felt very realistic. If you know me, I am not a fan of insta love. I think it's just bleh. So I thought that that was really well done, and I really enjoyed reading that. Like I said, Yadriel is transgender, so there is some great trans rep in this book. It talks about wearing a binder all the time. It talks about dysphoria. It talks about people calling you the wrong pronouns and using your dead name. So that's also a trigger, so if anybody is triggered by any of that, it is in this book, but it is handled really well, and kind of there is a redemption to it where it's just like everybody's like whoop whoop. So it is, so if that is a trigger to look out for, but it is something that is addressed. It's not just something that's like thrown out there and then never talked about. One other thing I really liked about this book was the information we were given on Dia de los Muertos, just talking about the beautiful decorations and all the food that they make, and how the family comes together, and how there's pictures on the graves, and how there's people put offerings of guitars and journals and literally everything. I just thought it was so beautiful, the cultural aspect of this book, and talking about cultural norms in their society, and talking about their family dynamics, and talking about a lot about Dia de los Muertos, and all about the offerings and kind of the traditions that happen on that day. I thought that that was a really cool, piece of the book that I think was a really good decision to add in, because it just made it so much more realistic and vivid and felt like you were there. To me, this story is about finding yourself and letting go of things along the way. This really is a book of self-discovery, and honestly the transition of the characters over the timeline, kind of seeing them grow as characters, was so well done, so beautiful. Yadriel really kind of comes out of his shell, and I thought that that was really a cool thing to watch kind of unfold. You have Julian Diaz showing feelings for once, and then you have Marcia, the best friend, and her kind of coming into herself. So I thought that this was just a phenomenal read. I thought all over it was great. I thought the relationships, the characters, the writing style, all of it was just really great. And watching these characters have fun and interact with each other was such a joy, and I'm so glad to have a new favorite book in my collection. This was a 5 out of 5 stars for me, and yes. But that is all I have to say about, well, not all I have to say, but all I'm going to say about Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I absolutely adored it. Thought it was great, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. I hope to see you again soon. Make sure to click subscribe if you have not. I post frequently. I will see you again soon, hopefully. All my links will be down below.